Alright, here's one. I'm going to run through a package unit real quick. Same thing as always with the wiring. You have to look at what unit you have. And if I take the service side panel off and I take the compressor panel off on the corner over here, I can look and see what type of unit this is. So as we're looking up down here, I see components for a gas furnace system. I've got an inducer motor, a gas valve, so I know this has got this is a gas heat. I can look up here and see a contactor and some circuit boards, but I've identified gas heat. It looks real simple. It's got two wires going to the gas valve, so and really there's one white wire right here. So this is probably a single stage furnace. Okay, we'll have to look at the rest of the unit to be sure. Now over here I've got my compressor, and sometimes on the Carrier and Bryant products you would have to actually look right under this corner piece right here to look for a reversing valve. I don't see a reversing valve in this one, so I know it's not a heat pump, but the compressor, TXV, you know, the coils, I know it's an air conditioner. So I've got a furnace with an air conditioner. Okay, so that's heat with cool, just like the furnace we've done in the past, but this compressor is a little bit different, so I'm going to walk you around and let you see what I mean by that. This is the high voltage plug over here, and if you look, I've got another plug on the back side that's got two wires. It's not high voltage, it's actually low voltage. This compressor itself is a two-stage compressor, so if I'm thinking about a normal heat-cool system, I know I'm going to use R and C, that's my 24-volt power source. I'm going to use G for the indoor fan. I'm going to use W for my heat. I'm going to use Y for my compressor contactor, but that's indicative of a single stage. I've got two stages in this compressor. Okay, so I have not only a Y, but I have a Y2. Some guys, they'll tell you it's a Y1 and a Y2. Y is always meant for cooling, you know, mainly for your compressor contactor, but in this case my Y2 is going to control the compressor. There's a valve in here with the scrolls that it's going to control directly. So I'll show you the wire, and it's a little bit different. It's still a heat cool setup. It's not a heat pump, but it has more than one stage of cooling. So let's get over here and we'll look at the wiring. So here I've got this bunch of low voltage wiring. All the factory wiring's done. I have to connect my field wiring to the factory, to the unit. So this is what we've been given. I've got 6 wires here. All right. My red and brown, that's going to be my 24 volt. That's where I'm going to tap into the 24 volt power and power the thermostat. I've got a G, that's my indoor fan, my green wire. I've got a white wire, that's my W, that's my heat, my one stage heat. And I've got these other 2 wires that are left. One's yellow and one's pink. Without dragging you through the schematic, the yellow one, that's my first stage cooling. That's going to control my contactor. And this pink wire is my second stage cooling, my Y2. It's going to control my solenoid on that scroll compressor. So that's all 6 wires, but this is a heat cool system. It's just a little bit different because it's got 2 stages of cool. All right, so let's go ahead and I'm going to wire this up real quick with all 6 wires. About a hand width. Alright, so we're going to use green and yellow. We're not going to use orange, we're going to use white. I like black for common and my red for power. So that is our standard conventional setup: power, heat, contactor, and the indoor fan. I need to pull one of these 3 remaining as my second stage of cooling. So I'm going to use, since I think cool is cool and ice and everything, I'm going to use blue for my second stage of cooling. Alright, so we're going to wrap the spares around, and I would strip 3/8 of an inch or so off of the end of these wires to expose the copper. And you'd be ready to wire the thermostat. All right, so let me clean up this end as well. In the shop, I'm just using a short piece to get the point across. But of course, out in the field, you would do this inside the hallway where the thermostat's at, and then once again out at the actual unit in the yard. All right. So we're going to run our thermostat wires through the grommet on the side. Okay. All right. Let's connect the field to the factory wire. All right. So we're going to take our red wire and connect to the red wire that the unit gives us. That's our 24 hot. And since we're messing with power, let's go ahead and get the common. That's going to be black for me. All right, I'm going to attach my common to their common, which is brown. No big deal. Color don't matter as long as you know what it's for. So I got that. If we take the green wire, right, I can take my fan circuit. I'll take the heat circuit. I'm going to take my cooling circuit, which is for the contactor for Y. Turn that a little bit. And then last but not least, we have the second stage of Y, which is a pink wire on this particular unit. I'm going to run that to my blue, and then we're going to wire up the thermostat subbase to it. All right, so. All right, so what we're going to do now is, since we've got the unit connections made, we're going to go ahead and wire in for the thermostat subbase. And if you look, you can see that these little gray spots are my conventional one heat, one cool system. But on this thermostat subbase, I've actually got a connection for a Y2, my second stage. So that's where, in this case, we're going to wire our blue wire connection onto that point right there. And I've already configured the thermostat. The biggest thing is you have to look at the system to know how to wire it and to know what type of thermostat to buy. If you don't buy a two-stage cooling thermostat, then you're not going to get the benefit of having that second stage. Typically in your furnaces, the circuit boards will do some staging options for you, but for cooling it might be a little bit different. So make sure you have a two-stage cooling thermostat. So I'm going to wire up these terminals here. We've got the red on power, right? I've got my black as common. Oh. Green for the fan. My W for heat. My Y, my yellow. And the blue wire is my Y2, so I'm going to put that in the Y2 spot. It's a little bit difficult doing it out here like this, right? But basically you can see the face of that. My blue is in my Y2. If this was on the wall, you'd make sure you had enough wire to put in the terminals, but short enough that you can close the cover. And we would go ahead and snap the thermostat face on. So we would go through, give me just a second, and we'll go ahead and turn this on and make sure it works. All right, we got the unit plugged in. I've got the thermostat configured for two-stage cooling, one-stage heating. I'm going to turn the fan from auto to on. All right, verify the fan's working. Okay. There goes the fan. This is a variable speed, so it took us just a second. I'm going to turn the fan from on back to auto, and then I can run through and turn on the heat. So our heat is on. We're going to turn it up above the room set point, or the room temperature. So we'll turn it up to 76. And here in just a second, the inducer motor should start. I don't have a gas line connected, so you're going to go through the motions as far as the heat is concerned on this part. But in the field, of course, you'd already have the gas line ran. So we'll wait on the heat to cycle through. We'll get the inducer motor to start. You'll hear the click of the gas valve, the whole nine. All right, we've got a call for heat. Our inducer motor's running. Our pressure switch has closed. There's the spark ignition. Our gas valve, I just heard it click and energize. If we had a gas line there, we would then light the furnace. After 30 seconds, 45 seconds, whatever, we would actually get our fan to come on. So I'm going to turn the heat off and let the inducer stop. And then we'll turn the cool on to make sure that we actually get the compressor to run. All right. So we'll turn it on cool, turn the cool down from 85, we'll turn it down to 70, 69, whatever. So we're going to get call for cooling. The contactor will pull in, the indoor fan will turn on. You should hear the contactor, the compressor's running. Now that's just the first stage. If I were to have the second stage configured and wired in, then we could actually test. We'd have to have our gauges on here, but we could actually test to make sure that the second stage is working properly and the whole nine. So not going to go any further with it. Hopefully you get the idea. It's more of a low voltage wiring and an operational check. But if you have any questions, let me know.